afternoon to everyone and welcome to QES Group Berhad's Q1 results briefing for the 2022 financial year. I am Shuain from Geographical Communications. We are the third-party IR and PR consultant for QES, and I shall be your moderator for today's briefing. So today's results briefing is part of Bursa Malaysia's Investor Relations and Public Relations project for selected listed companies. The IR and PR project is aimed to improve the visibility and accessibility for selected listed companies via more active IR engagements with the investment community. For the first phase of the project, Geographical Communications has been appointed to train and educate participating PLCs to conduct effective IR engagements. The selected companies for this program are PLCs that are less accessible to analyst investors but highly in demand based on the feedback received from the investment community. We wish to thank QES for participating in this project. The recording of the investor briefing and presentation slides will be made available for all on Bursa Malaysia Institutional Insights portal after the event. Today, we have with us Mr. Chew Nee Weng, co-founder, president, and managing director, who will bring us through today's briefing. Thereafter, we'll move on to Q&As. Without further ado, I'll pass it over to Mr. Chew.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. I guess we can jump straight into it, and just to calibrate an expectation, I think what I'm going to do is I'll quickly run through the slides. I believe most of you are quite familiar with QES, and I will assume that most of you have run through our Q1 results. So I will try to give a little bit more time for the Q&A based on the past experience that I've had. So, okay, without further ado, let me run through. I think most of you know about the company corporate structure. There's no changes ever since from the last Q4 2021 briefing. These are company overviews. I'll quickly run through it. Organizing chart, no changes. It's just the same slides that you've seen it before. So I will quickly run through that. And in terms of the manufacturing division, the product lines, of course, we later on I'll probably give you guys more update in some of the potential launches that we might have in terms of the product lines. You can see this slide here. Probably I beam it up every quarter. Now, you see my mouse here is like, these are all graphical images, but now we have this live, not live, the picture of this product, which is our post-probing inspection, wafer inspection, AOI version. We call it PPI 3300, which probably I will explain a bit more later on, which we are ready to do some soft launch here. And the smart manufacturing and all that, I'm sure you are familiar already. I've explained quite a fair bit of it. And this is still a small part of the business, but I believe the next 2-3 years could be growing. It's the same thing here that we have 3 key verticals here: semiconductor, E&E, and automotive, contributing probably more than 80% of our total revenue, with the core business of manufacturing, distribution, and the recurring income of the spare parts and service. There's the 3 core segments that we are doing right now. Jumping into the Q1 results now, the revenue has got it's quite a flat, slight growth. We did 66.3 million for Q1 2022. Of course, the GP is probably good. I would say meeting our expectation and all that. But in terms of the PAT, of course, then later on you might have some questions because our PAT is like slight in terms of the results point of view comparatively to 2021, the year-on-year, there's a slight dip. But in terms of Q-on-Q, I think we are growing quite a fair bit. In fact, more than 50% in terms of quarter-on-quarter. But in terms of year-on-year, it's just about 3% differences because even though higher revenue, but we are paying slightly more tax. These are just graphical charts showing what I've explained just now. Quickly run through that. Similarly, this chart will be around for a while. Every quarter we'll beam this up just to kind of highlight the trends of each quarter we are doing. So so far, yeah, we are doing a pretty, I would think, acceptable growing trend in the long run since the down in Q2 of 2019. Yeah. Similarly, I won't go into details because it's all self-explanatory. You can ask me questions later on. Probably I can give you a more deeper insights as to what you want to understand more in terms of results and also what we're going to look for. Cash equivalent is still very strong. We are at about, even though we moved into a new factory today and we already paid up the land in Patukawa and all that, we still have a substantial cash pile that is going to be very helpful to the group, yeah, going forward. Gearing ratio, yeah, very healthy as well. Just a slight increment, but just give us in a good position for going, in terms of expanding or gearing up a little bit as we go forward. Yeah. Yeah, these are all some of the ratios that probably you have time, you can run through that as well or ask me questions later on. Now, okay, this slide, yeah, I tend to spend a little bit more time just to explain because in a nutshell, these Q1 results, I try to kind of analyze it via our geographical spread. So you can see here, Malaysia is strong. Q1, we are growing like almost double up what we have done last year. I mean, year-on-year basis, Q&Q is about close to 10%. So Malaysia is very strong due to our distribution presence. Anyhow, it's a headquarters here. Now, in general, ASEAN, there's a slight dip in terms of the year-on-year, but on a Q-on-Q is not that bad. So I would think it's parity. Then let's drill down in terms of countries. Singapore Q&Q is doing all right, but in terms of year-on-year, I think Singapore market relatively we are good in semicon, so the momentum is still there. Vietnam, year-on-year is good, but quarter-on-quarter there's a dip. I guess overall Vietnam is still recovering well in terms of the whole year basis. Both in terms of Thailand, I think we are recovering very nicely. I think E&E and automotive base basically from Thailand, whereas both Philippines and Indonesia, year-on-year is not a pretty picture, but because of the low base previously of the COVID, then it jumps up high, and now we are back to kind of normalcy. So we'll even out as we go along the Q2 and Q3, you might see some evening out. So the interesting part here, point here is the China. I think we are showing good growth potential. I've elaborated quite a fair bit last 2 quarters about our activities in China. I think we are seeing some positive results. I really wish that we can start traveling to China, but until now we are not able to. Whatever orders, whatever delivery, we are just doing it on the online basis or through the assist of our appointed distributors there. So this rest of the world, I think, is very big decrease because of we couldn't make the deliveries. Orders are there, but it's just that it's a matter of how to deliver it going forward, especially on the manufacturing side. So that gives you a snapshot of all the revenue among the countries that we are operating at. Yeah, this again is just another graphical indication of where we are in terms of the countries. And this is by division, distribution, recurring income, and also the manufacturing. So it's still distribution is doing very strong in the Q1 as well. Again, this is by industry. You can see the 3 pillars here. I mentioned just now, the semicon, the metal, automotive, and E&E. This 3 part here is just more than 90% of our total revenue. Yeah, this is our manufacturing side. I'll try to be consistent every quarter to beam up this spread in terms of the product range of our manufacturing. If you follow QES over the few quarters, probably you'll see the trending of each series that we are doing. And I will probably elaborate more on this because looking at the results of Q1, so you can see here the AOI, which is actually potentially is a big for us, and is showing a very paltry results, I would say, both AHS and AOI. But not to be this, I mean, to me, it's like the order momentum is still very strong for manufacturing because we are in semiconductor, and I can also kind of look through as you go along later in the presentation or in the Q&A sessions that the order intake is very strong. We would have deliveries fan out over the next 3 quarters, and then you will see the results going to show maybe towards this type of ratio, So I'll try to explain more as you go along. Yeah, this is an indication of our install base as we chart it out every quarter. So it's still, it's going to be a nice chart anyway, because we just add on every year or every quarter. The rest, I wouldn't want to explain in detail because most of you, I think, know who we are and what we do. And I just want to highlight that in the terms of a lot of uncertainties out there. So I would think QES, of course, is also subjected to that. I can answer more detailed question, or we can dive deeper into the Q&A. But in terms of our strength, in terms of our ability to withstand any external shocks, I think QES Group has got a lot more resilient. I've gone through this type of scenario last 3 major downturn, but we always come out strong, and because of the nature of our business, we are not too overly depending on any singular customer. All of you know that not a single customer of QES is more than 10% of our total revenue. And in terms of our principal suppliers, not a single supplier is more than 15% of our total revenue of buying. So in that sense, it's very diverse, and we are also very active in the whole ASEAN. So that also helps us, and we have a strong recurring income, and that also will help us in the terms of stability of revenue. So that basically is a good thing, in terms of the company point of view. If you want to invest in QES, I think this is something that you're looking at. And yeah, very strong cash and cash equivalent of more than 70 million as of 31st of March, gearing ratio and cash flow positive as well. So these are all very positive merits of the QES Group. So I just want to emphasize a little bit on that. Now these 2 slides is probably it's good to know. Like we have just moved in 23rd of March to the HiCom Grand Mary here. And we also have started to accept visits from customers, suppliers, and also there are already, I think, 2 groups of fund managers have already attended the factory tour as well. And yeah, I try to work with my team here and try to do an official opening. I don't know, sometimes September, or even if I can, August could be some date as well. But we'll see how it goes. Now, in terms of Batu Kawan, as I said earlier on, the land is fully paid up, and we have already received the alienation approval of the land from PDC on the end of March. Exactly is on the 29th, and we will initiate the start of the construction of this QES at Batu Kawan. Likely, I will appoint a consultant to monitor and update the progress, because all the key members are in KL. We can't be operating out from Penang, so it's likelihood that we'll hire a consultant, and that consultant will do this progress or monitoring update to us. So I would think planning to award the construction contract towards September, October time frame, and maybe we do a groundbreaking either November, December for this particular site. As I alluded earlier on just now, that we will participate in Semicon SEA. That's going to be from 21st to 23rd June. And if you all are visiting Penang, you should try to time it so that you can also attend this semiconductor exhibition. All the major players are going to be there, including our peers and also our customers as well. So yeah, by all means, if you need to have some invitation, do get in touch with Alicia or our team here. Maybe we can also extend invitation for you to go and attend the Semicons exhibition. And we're going to have a booth there, and we plan to do a soft launching of our long delayed the AOI PPI 3300 during the Semicon SEA. I think if you come to our factory here, probably you have to go into the R&D department here and look at what we are preparing in terms of this wafer inspection AOI series. Yeah. So that is corporate updates here. Now, this 1-2 slides here is probably like our summary of the 2022. As I said earlier on, order intake from semiconductor customers continues to be very strong for us. I understand, of course, there are some customers are saying that there's some drop in terms of the demand, especially those people probably making RF ICs or communication ICs. They may feel a little bit of drop, but I personally think that the backdrop of the 5G and all that is still going to be there. It's not going to go away. So we may see some dip here and there in terms of every quarter, every month, but overall, I would still think there is some growth there. So we're gonna still continue to face some supply chain issues. Not, I thought it's getting better and better, and then they have this Shanghai lockdown, this Beijing lockdown, and some part of other China also locked down. And if you are going to get some component from there, you're going to face some delivery issues as well. I think for us, we have minimal, but our supplier, like I was just talking to one of my guys, I think, we are distributing Nikon. So some of the simple low power microscopes are being manufactured in China. So the delivery time for these items are extended, because of this zero COVID policy from China, lockdown and all that. So we are facing a little bit of that in terms of the delivery. We will, as I said, we will launch that wafer inspection. So this is something that I'm proud to announce, and I would really want all of you to, if you can, have a look at what we have. I've committed to get it done, even though it's delayed, but it will be done. We are getting some orders as well on the repeat orders. I think the last few quarters I shared with some of you. I even had a video of this product line that is a 6-sided automated inspection machines that we think potentially has got some way to go. And true enough, the customers are giving us some repeat orders as well for this particular tool. Order intake from China activities gaining tractions. We just got not just I think probably about I don't know, about maybe a month and a half ago, or we received reasonably large orders for one of our newly appointed distributors there. So I think it is showing some results. So I'm pleased with that. I think we will continue to work on that, work on the China revenue, so that our manufacturing site, hopefully, it will contribute significantly as we go forward. Yeah. Distribution side, I will still continue to see still a strong order intake from semiconductor and E&E segments. So we continue to receive multiple large orders from both front end and back end customers. But the only issue here is the shipments. Because some of these large orders, meaning like, we have machines from Japan, one order, for the fabs can be $1 million or $1.5 million US. And that delivery just becomes lengthy. So that's where we really have to manage the delivery time. Recurring income even though steady, but the first Q, I saw that it did, when you look at the numbers that we beam up. So I guess it's because the Chinese New Year holidays and also a lot of plant shutdowns, So we think it will, statistically, I think it will come back, second and third Q to even out our recurring income. So that's what I think, and then we will have to just wait for the results to show. In terms of the second half, as I said, now this is I think the 92 backlog orders is from 2021. So we have again, as I said, strong order intake, and then the outstanding order to be delivered remains very, very positive. And we are definitely optimistic to see the growth in 2022 over 2021, both the top and bottom line. Even though we have this geopolitical tensions in Europe and probably high inflation globally, especially in the US. So, but I guess we are not, so far, we are not severely impacted by all these issues. Somebody was asking me whether the invasion of Ukraine has any impact to QES, but I said, not really, because we don't have any business with Ukraine or Russia. So I think the only thing I can see is probably there's a lot of shipping crew members are from Ukraine, as I understand. So then they will have some issues in terms of the manpower in terms of shipment. We will probably submit the application to migrate to the main board from ACE. And we already obtained the board of directors approval, and we have appointed the investment banker, and we will have our AGM on the 15th, and right after that we will do the submission to SC, and barring any other unforeseen circumstances and all the approval is forthcoming, I hope, we expect to migrate to main board probably by October, November timeframe, based on the timeline given by our investment bank. Yeah, I know. In terms of the 5 years roadmap, I just want to update the joint venture company is running along. Full operation in April already. They are doing a lot of product transfer, but we are having issue a little bit in terms of hiring people. As all of you know, Penang is not easy to hire people. So this is something that will be in our, in my thought process as we do the Batu Kawan plan for QES. So, this is something that I think I need to really spend a little bit more time on that. We will continue to penetrate into China as outlined just now. It's already started 2 years ago, and we are doing that. And today we are getting some results. I believe it can be better, and our product are more matured now. We have a little bit advantage because of our clients are all big multinational companies. So I've shared before. I'm not at the liberty to say specifically who are who, but then if you name it, they're all our clients, whether it's front end or back end, and they're all big giant multinational companies. So if we start selling our products in China and they know that our machines are already qualified in some of the big names, then chances are they'll be easy to buy in. Yeah, so we think that we can get better success as we move our marketing and aggressive sales penetration into China market. Last but not least, the next 3 to 5 years, I'm always looking out for inorganic expansion plans. Some of you may ask, but then yes, I am seriously and actively looking out for M&A, part of the inorganic expansion plans that I want to do, especially tying into our manufacturing site. Yeah, this is some of the pictures taken. Like I said, this is our wafer inspection AOI. This is the unit that will be displayed or during the Semicon Southeast Asia this coming June 21st to 23rd. You can see it in our factory if you want to come along. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people asking us about the ESG targets and action plans. It's part and parcel of the SC drive and also Bursa drive. So we are also participating. We are also trying to get into the alignment of the environment, social, and also governance. So I think that's very important as well going forward. Yeah, this is some of the actions that we are doing. I wouldn't want to go into each and every one of them in detail. So I'm sure you can have the time to run through. I'll beam up in our website as well. At the same time, also our activity is ongoing. Yeah, to some of you have not come to our office, this is a new place. It's a brand new, not brand new, we do a renovation on an old building, but it becomes new. So I guess the staff morale is so much better today, and they feel there's a lot of vibrancy coming to work. So I think it helps in terms of the part of this is also in ESG, because the staff feels more happy and the work environment gets better. So this is something that we are always aspiring to do. So of course, I can't be doing QES like a Google like, but at least we are hopefully 20% of that. I think we have somewhere there. Yeah, so these are some of the pictures that I just want to share. And this is our clean room, and we spend about close to R1 million on that. And this is cater for future customers who are requiring us to do manufacturing of equipment within the clean room environment. So, I shared that some years ago, because we have a customer in US asking us to make equipment under clean room, and at the time we really don't have. And now we are ready, so we can be differentiated from other competitors, that we can have this manufacturing under a clean room environment, ISO 6 level. Some snapshot of pictures of our production line, so you can come in here and have a look. And yeah, we did a so-called soft moving in, not official ceremony, but we have to move in. So that was on the 23rd of March. Yeah. And this is again the private placement proceed is updating. So we are slowly drill down and spending off some. This has been long overdue. We get extension and all that, but it's still ongoing. Yeah. And the last few slides, I think all of you are very familiar. Even though a lot of saying that is like some products or some segments are down, but overall, I still say overall that the backdrop of semiconductor growth is still going to be there. I personally think that whether it's automotive based, whether it's communication based, whether it's sensors based, or memory based, all are still in a overall growing trend. Maybe dip here and there, but overall it's still growing. And yeah, these are some of the description that I mentioned just now. And these are the fabs that's ongoing. So, the fabs, when they do, it takes 2 years, and once the loading comes in, maybe you can see a crowding out in terms of the volumes of the fab, but then it will start to filter into the test and assembly. Right now, test and assembly is still very, very tight, because I don't hear or there's not many announcement on expansion on the back end, I mean the test and assembly side, but there are so many announcements on the fabs. So again, there's a mismatch here. So once this fabs comes online, 2 years from now, then you can see there will be people starting to say, not enough space to do the expansion. Except maybe Unisem, Inari, and all that, which I've heard the expansion, like Unisem, they are starting to build and construct the OSAT in Gopeng land. So that I think there's something that we can look forward to in terms of equipment makers like us. Yeah. All right. So that basically kind of sums up the presentation, and I really think that we should go straight into the Q&A.
All right. Thanks so much, Mr. Chiu, for the presentation. So now we open the floor to Q&As. If you have any, please feel free to unmute yourselves, and you may post your questions, or you can type them in the chat box. So actually, I have a question in the chat box was directly sent to me. The question is, what is the largest contributing factor to the 2.6 million ringgit tax expenses in the quarter report?
Yeah, we have two things here. One is the adjustment of the deferred tax liability. I mean, I'm not an accountant, but I got this from the accounts people. The other one is the adjustment on the certain expenses not deductible, such as depreciation, amortization on intangible assets, and allowance for inventories. That's what I got from the accounts. But if you want to dive deeper into that, maybe you can post questions. I have my people ready, like I think Stanley and Jean is also online. So if anybody want to ask more detail, then feel free to ask. I'm sure they will be able to answer your questions. But this is what I get from them, because I believe some of you may ask these questions. So I ask them to get ready for me to just give you an update in terms of our tax. Yeah, so I hope that answers the question. May I know the question comes from where, Shuwen? Shuwen, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. So it's from Jonathan. I do have to check his institution. I'll get back to you on that after the call.
Yeah. Hi, David. I saw the check box. Yeah. Good afternoon to you.
David, I see you raised your hand. You may go. Unmute yourself and pose your question.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Chiu. Can you hear me?
Hi, David.
Hi, nice to see you again. Got more white hair now.
Yeah.
Congratulations on the results. I think in such an uncertain time that QES is able to deliver this kind of results is very impressive. I just got a couple of questions from the slides and your presentation just now. You mentioned that the manufacturing side is actually affected by some delivery issues. Can you give a bit more color on that? And do you guys foresee that this issue will be persistent in the coming quarters?
Yeah, I think delivery is always a concern. But I think just to give you a little bit of narrative, I think that somebody will ask me the question anyway later on. But since you have posted up already, I think we have a good, up to April, manufacturing side has order intake or yet to be delivered about 25 million ringgit, which is quite comparatively year to year, it was quite good. And we expect to deliver all this 25 million within this year. So of course, we will span it out or space it out over every quarter because of the different machine has got different delivery timeline. So we think we will mitigate these issues. I already kind of planned ahead last year, getting them to buy some inventory upfront, especially the robotic arms and also critical components. It's very fortunate that I don't have a lot of critical components from China. Okay. So that is some good thing about us here. And besides the critical components here, I think our manufacturing process is not like we are doing mass production. We are doing one equipment at a time in a batch manner. So in terms of people, of course, in KL, in Shalam here, I don't have as critical issue as in Penang, but still I'm hiring still, because our manufacturing operation is still relatively small. We have only about 70-something people, and if I'm to aim for let's say 40 million or 40-something million this year, so we may not have enough engineers to do the setup and also the optimization. So that is my bottleneck in terms of manufacturing side. But we are hiring you can see every month I keep on having new people coming in. So now maybe we are around 80 people by now, I think.
Okay, that's definitely good news to hear. Now you touched on the cost. With inflation and all these shortages in the components, right? Is QES able to pass on some of these incremental costs to the customer?
Yeah, this is something that we always, it happens already a year and a half already. I wouldn't say this is a new issue. The bill of material has been a steady increment since a year and a half ago. So we of course there's a certain percentage of the total cost lah, but I wouldn't say there's a lot because our business is skilled engineers, and also the optical, and also the some of the key critical components. Even though the price went up, we will try to absorb it if it's not too far-fetched. But if it is, high, I mean, let's say, for example, the optical components is like 30% or 40% up,
Yes.
then we have no choice, but we have to actually share out with our clients, our customers. So we are doing that because sometimes they said, oh, I buy 3 machines from you or 5 machines from you, I'm expecting more discounts from you.
Understand.
But for us, we will say, that's too bad. I can't give you any discount. Partly because of the cost of material shot up quite high.
But I guess in this situation, it should be not a big problem to pass the cost to the customer because everything is in shortage right now, right?
Yeah. So we are not the only one with that way.
Okay, that's good. Just now, Mr. Chu, you touched on the order book for manufacturing, right? You say roughly about 25 million. But as a group, including the distribution, can you share a little bit color on what is your total order book right now?
I think as of the end of April, we have about 110 million total order book. Out of that, 25 is a manufacturing.
Okay.
Right. So we have a total of 110 million. So that's I mean, to me, that is a fair, good number to work on.
Okay, understand. Thank you. Very happy to see that your China operations is finally gaining some traction. I guess this will be mostly from distribution. Side, right?
No. David, China is all manufacturing business.
All manufacturing. Oh, yeah. Okay.
We don't do distribution in China. Distribution is all concentrating in ASEAN.
I see. Well, even China lockdown, you can also deliver such good result.
Yes, that's why I was just saying that, we don't have engineers going there, but we kind of work with our distributors, and then there's a lot of virtual meeting and guidance and training. So it's not easy, but
can I extrapolate that once China open out finally, right? So sometime down the road, would the business in China really expand in tandem as well?
Yes, for sure. I think that's the expected intended outcome. Okay. Once we embark on this aggressive sales and marketing, we would expect results. So, and then it's starting to show, and I think once it opens up more, where we have our branding exercise go very aggressively in China, and that is where I think you'll get a lot more traction. Right now, you ask the Chinese domestic people, then who is QES? They sometimes do not know. But you ask all the players in ASEAN, you mention QES, everybody knows QES. So the intention is to make sure that the domestic Chinese company know who is QES.
So in other words, there's a huge room to grow for QES in China.
I believe so. So.
Okay, my last question is pertaining to tax. There's a slight uptick on the tax for this quarter. Is it just one-off? Based on the B1 explanation?
Yes, it's one-off.
So I think after this, the next quarter and moving forward should be normalized, right?
Yeah, it should normalize. So we should be within the expected of the tax rate.
Okay, all right. Thank you for taking my question. I'll let the others have a chance. So hopefully we can meet you soon. We are dialing in from our new office as well, in your new office.
Great.
Okay, take care.
Okay.
Thanks, David. Mr. Chu, there's a question in the chat box. So question from Hafiz is wondering if QES has exposure in Taiwan. If yes, what's the percentage of it towards the revenue?
Okay. Yes, we do have our manufacturing site. We sell equipment to Taiwanese semiconductor companies. Not so much in the fab, but we are selling to the OSAT there. So not a very significant amount, but I would think in terms of percentage, I I would think is also less than a single digit, a low single digit. I don't have the exact percentage, but we will get back to you. I think the team here, please work out and get back to Hafiz in terms of the exact numbers. As far as I know, it's a low single digit percentage.
Yeah, in year 2021 is only 1%.
Yes.
Q1 2022 we don't have.
Okay. All right.
All right, we can move on to the next question. Does anyone have any more questions? You may unmute yourself and speak. Hi, Jaden. I see you've raised your hand. Please go ahead.
Hi, Mr. Chiu.
Hi.
Hi, Mr. Chiu. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Chiu. Congratulations to your good result. So, I have a question regarding to your JV with Applied Engineering in Penang. So, can we get some update? Besides that, just now you say difficult to hire the employees. Besides from this, any challenging the JV is facing on, or how the business is going on?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we had the opening ceremony. I was there. I met the management team of Applied Engineering US, and I believe they will come again sometime. I think sometime end of June or early July. So the whole idea. I mean, I sit in the board, but I don't run the operation there because they are 70% ownership. So they are the one running the show. But I do get updates here and there. And at the current situation is, as I said, we have hiring a little bit issue, but this has been communicated to them that we need to offer a more attractive package to hire engineers in Penang. So that's one thing. And also we are working on a couple of projects. And I think, the gestation period is going to take a while. But what AE US is doing is they have already secured some orders in the US. And what they are doing is they actually farm out some of these projects to this AE joint venture. And at the same time, QES role, we are also introducing new accounts to them, especially in the medical tech segment. So we have successfully registered AE Technology Malaysia as one of the approved vendor lists in one of these large medical tech companies in Penang. And I think we are working on a couple of projects which may hopefully may come through. And the Batu Kawan QES factory is also gearing out. When I build, I also have to consider allocating some production space for them, because currently, as you mentioned, the challenges, they are only occupying 18,000 square feet of space. So likely, if we secure this type of large so-called EMS project from these medical tech companies, we may need a larger production space. And therefore, to me, that's also important to have a ready production space to capture some of these potentials. It may or may not happen, but we are working hard on it. So that is going to be some so-called challenges, as you said. But other than that, everything is still on track. And we still think that hopefully 2 years to break even, based on what the US president was telling me when we had a meeting the last time.
I see. Okay, this is the only question from me. Thank you, Mr. Chiu.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jaden. Mr. Chiu, there's a question in the chat box from Chiman. So, of the strong semiconductor orders, both manufacturing and distribution, can we say a substantial amount is from your automotive EV related orders?
Okay, yeah, Chiman, is it? Yeah. Now, I also think that the EV side is strong for QES. Just to give some kind of explanation or narrative to what we're doing. Now, let's say our automated post-wire bonding inspection machine, which we are selling for about between 250 to 300,000 US dollar per machine. We recently have got a couple of orders, and the customers that buy these are into automotive ICs for the EVs. So you are right that I think almost 50%. The last calculation I had was about 46 or 47% of these are the ICs for automotive, which is related to EVs. Of course, we have others, like as I said earlier on, the 5G and the communication IC people. They contributed, probably about 10 to 15%, and the memory also around 10 to 15, and the balance is the opto sensors and discrete. So basically, that is the spread in terms of the EV related orders among the semiconductor side. So yes, correct, both manufacturing and distribution. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Jiman.
Okay, so moving on to the next one from
sure. I can see the chat box. So maybe you don't have to repeat that. So make your life easier. Then I can.
Thanks, Mr. Xu.
Yeah, I can also answer straight away. Then this Gianni from Philip Capital. Now, say what is the ASP for wafer inspection AOI? We are targeting to market it at around 500 to 600,000 US dollars. Depends on configuration. Our competitors, the big ones are from US. They are Chemtech and also Onto Innovation. They are probably, around 800 to a million or sometimes more than a million a piece. So ours is of course not a full featured to go against all these established competitors, but we think there is a gap that we can meet some of the customers' requirements. So your question number 2 is what are the competitive advantage of this machine compared to what's already on the market? Okay, and then question number 2 is I just mentioned we are trying to fill up the gap in terms of cost of ownership. We also get a lot of feedback from customers. Customers are telling us that, hey QES, why not you make something that maybe feature for feature, you don't need to match the US people because the price is like $1 million a tool. So if you can make something like 500, half the price, or 600, then at least they can utilize our tool and run the features, something that they think that they can manage without a full-fledged criteria. So, some customers said, I want to do inspection criteria, out of 100 criteria, maybe I want to do only 60. Why? Because their customers think that the other 40 is not so critical, or they want to do some cost outlay to be lower. So we can meet and address that segment. So this is one area that we can be comparatively some advantages over the established, because they have this feature that sometimes the customers don't use because the US people said, yeah, no choice, you got to get it because the machine is there already. They already done it. So, they won't sell you a stripped down version. They want to sell you a full-fledged version, which some of our clients don't really like that idea. So we are trying to come in and meet some of these requirements of our clients. So number 3 is when can we see meaningful contribution from it, and what are the target markets? Yes, of course, we have done a lot of work. It's really a delayed product launch. I'm late by a year and a half at least. So we think, once it's launched, we can get a little bit more traction, and we think we can get certain market share, like what I was saying just now. Now, we also understand that from the market reports and the investigative work that we have done among all the customers and all that, we know in just ASEAN region alone, this particular type of product line has a potential of between 70 to 100 machines a year. So we think, of course, there are many competitors as well. Even, QES is one of the local ones. I believe you all know Vitrox also has launched this 2016, but they are really, really making work maybe only last year. So you can see it's not so simple, the product line, because of the software nature. So it takes a company like Vitrox such a long time to come to fruition. And for QES also, I think it will take equally as long, if not, I hope can be shorter by a year or two. So that's where the meaningful contribution that we think we can get. Maybe, if I can get a certain percentage of that total market, total addressable market, we're targeting very not so ambitious. Like this year, if you can secure 2 machine, 3 machine, I'm okay with that. And going forward, hopefully we'll just have more and more potential as we go along. We have double-digit growth, hopefully, for this particular product line. And bearing in mind that we think there is a huge potential in China as well for this wafer inspection AOI, and we are trying to target that segment as well. So I hope I've answered the 4 questions that you have put up, Mr. I don't know whether you are Njiani.
All right, thanks, Mr. Chiu. Are there any other questions from the floor?
Just to add on the wafer inspection AOI, I think some of you have followed QES since the early stage, so it's kind of I'm quite relentless trying to get this product out, even though I face setbacks because the software is more complicated than what I thought it was supposed to be. But we are getting ready, so the soft launch is there. It's the testimonial of what we are trying to do, even though it's of course not a full, complete, finalized version, but we are on track, meaning that we are trying to get this add-on as we go along. So I just want to update those people who has followed QES since, I don't know, 2019 onwards. All right.
All right. I think if there's no other questions, we can close the briefing.
Okay.
Do you have any closing remarks or final words, Mr. Chiu?
Well, I mean, to all the audience here, probably we are still quite optimistic. 2022 for us, for QES, is still growing. We are charting a growth path, and I'm hoping to see a hopefully a growth in top line and bottom line as well for this 2022, and I think we can achieve, barring, of course, I always put a caveat, in the sense that the second half of 2022, unless the geopolitical tension simmer off, it's like toned down. You don't have somebody, suddenly wake up and say that I want to do something, crazy and all that. So that is I can't really control. So I just want to get it across that we want definitely to have a good growth in terms of our manufacturing revenue. I'm still targeting to hit 35% of our total revenue, and we are on track. And I'm quite confident, that the manufacturing side, we already have in the pocket 25 million. Last whole year, we are doing 25. So this is like April, we have outstanding orders of 25 million to be delivered. So I think for sure, I'm quite confident that we will definitely hit 35-40 million for manufacturing this year. So if some of you wanted to come by and the factory and have a tour, give us a heads up, give us a notification at least 1 week in advance. Then I'm more than happy to accommodate. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chiu, for that. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to us at Image Communications. On behalf of QES and Bursa Malaysia, thank you for attending today's briefing. Stay safe and take care, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, Mr. Chiu.
Bye.
Bye.